Welcome class 6 students. Today we are going to start chapter 9 of our history, Reaching Out to Distant Lands. Learning objectives. Silk and Silk Route, the Satavahanas, invasion from the northwest, the beginning of Bhakti, the Sungas and the Kanvas, kingdoms of South India, impact of Central Asian contact. Let's warm up. Look at the following picture and answer the questions that follow. A. Who is shown in the picture? B. Where is this image found? C. Vishnu took the shape of dash in order to rescue the earth, which had sunk into water. Application skills. The most famous play of Kalidas, Abhijan Shakuntalam, is the story of the love between the king named Dushyant and a young girl named Shakuntala. We find an interesting and impressive description of the plight condition of a poor fisherman in this play. This character of the play, that is, the fisherman, found a costly ring which the king Dushyant had given to Shakuntala, but which had been accidentally swallowed by a fish. When he went to the palace with that ring, the gateman of the palace accused him of theft and the chief police officer was rather rude. However, the king was happy when he saw the ring and sent a reward for the fisherman. Then the police officer and the gateman decided to take a share of the reward and went along with the fisherman to have a drink. Now answer the following questions. A. What is Abhijanan Shakuntalam all about? B. Write its story in short. Answer the following questions by your own. The Mauryan administration had opened up the subcontinent by building roads and attempting to make contacts with the relatively remote areas. Mauryan conquest also opened doors for trade and missionary activities. The contacts established by administrators, traders, and Jaina and Buddhist monks led to the spread of the material culture of the Gangetic Basin to areas situated on the periphery of the empire. This made migration of foreign tribes from foreign land to Indian subcontinent possible. This is the image of Silk Route and other important ancient trade routes. As we have learned, Magad owned its expansion to certain basic material advantages. When the knowledge of the use of iron spread to central India, the Deccan and Kalinga as a result of the expansion of the empire, the Gangetic Basin lost its special advantages. On the basis of the material culture acquired from Magad, new kingdoms were founded. This explains the rise of the Sungas in central India and of Satavahanas in the Deccan. Silk and Silk Route. The rich glossy colors and smooth texture of silk make it a highly valued fabric in most societies. About 2000 years ago, silk became famous among the rulers and rich people in Rome. The technique of making silk was first discovered in China around 7000 years ago. For making silk, raw silk has to be extracted from the cocoons of silkworms. Further, raw silk is spun into thread and then woven into cloth. Silkworms are reared and fed mulberry leaves. About 5500 silkworms are required to produce 1 kg of raw silk. For thousands of years, Chinese kept the knowledge of making silk a secret. But later, some people who went to distant lands carried silk with them. The paths they followed are known as the Silk Route. The Chinese rulers also sent gifts of silk to rulers in Iran, West Asia. From there, the knowledge of silk spread further west. Silk was very expensive because it had to be brought all the way from China. The roads were dangerous and were through mountains and deserts. Moreover, people living along the route often demanded payments for allowing traders to pass through. The Sungas and the Kanvas. The last Mauryan ruler, Brihadrath, was a weak person. He was killed by his army general Pushyamitra Sunga. Pushyamitra and his successor came to be known as the Sunga rulers. The Sunga dynasty ruled for about 112 years. The last Sunga king was Devabhuti. He was killed by his minister Vasudev Kanva in 72 BCE. The Kanva dynasty lasted for about 45 years from 72 BCE to 27 BCE. It was overrun by the Andhra rulers. The Sunga and the Kanva rulers followed Brahmanical religion. Pushyamitra Sung had to fight the foreign invaders, the Bactrians, Greeks. He won a great victory in the war. To celebrate his victory, he performed Ashwamedh Yajna, horse sacrifice. The Satavahanas. The Satavahanas were also known as Andhras. They ruled in the Deccan for nearly 400 years, 100 BCE to 300 CE. Their capital was Pratishthan, the present-day Pathan in Maharashtra. They became the most powerful under the leadership of Gautamiputra Satakarni 106 to 130 CE. The information about this great ruler is available in an inscription composed by his mother Gautami Balashri, found at the entrance of the cave of Nasik. The Satvahana rulers were known as the lords of the Dakshina Path, the route leading to the south. This is the image of Gautamiputra Satakarni's coins. They had a flourishing trade with both western countries such as Arabia, Rome, Iran, and eastern countries such as Burma and Malaya. Internal trade was also very developed. Well-connected roads and a large number of ports on eastern and western coast helped a great deal in trade. A number of Roman coins have been found here. In the Satvahana period, many beautiful stupas were constructed. The Amravati Stoop in Andhra Pradesh and the Sachi Stoop near Bhopal are the most famous throughout the world. The Amravati Stupa is the largest and is surrounded by railings. The gateway of the great stupa of Sachi is highly decorative. They contain beautiful sculptures showing the scenes from the life of the Buddha. The viharas, monasteries were cut deep into hills. Kingdoms of South India. With the growth of trade, three kingdoms became prominent in South India. They were the Cholas, the Cheras, and the Pandyas. The Chola kingdom. The Chola kingdom comprised the modern districts of Thanjavur, Tanjore, and Tiruchirappalli. Karaikela was the greatest among the early Chola ruler. He defeated a number of kings including the Chera and the Pandya rulers. He brought prosperity to his kingdom. The successors of Karaikela were weak. Their power therefore declined. Pumpuhara was a very important town. The Chera kingdom. The Cheras, also known as Kerala Putra, ruled over an area comprising North Travancore, Cochin, and South Malabar. Udayanjanal was the first important Chera ruler. Their capital was Vajji. The most famous Chera king was Nendu Jiral Adan. The Cheras encouraged trade with Rome and Egypt. Fact file. In Sangam literature, these three kingdoms are referred as the Movindar. It is a Tamil word which means chief. The Pandya kingdom. The Pandya kingdom roughly included the modern districts of Tinnevelli, Ramanad, and Madurai in Tamil Nadu. Its capital was at Madurai. Nendinilyan was a great Pandya king. He was an able and efficient ruler. This is the image of Pandya sculpture. He patronized art and literature and performed many Vedic sacrifices. Invasions from the northwest. From around 200 BCE, there were series of migration across the northwestern borders. Many foreign tribes, especially from Central Asia, crossed the Hindu Kush and entered India. These were the Indo-Greeks, the Pahalwas, the Sakas, and the Kushanas. All these people made India their home and greatly influenced the political and cultural history of India. The Indo-Greeks. The Indo-Greeks occupied a large part of the northwestern region of India in the first half of the 2nd century BCE. One of the most famous Indo-Greek rulers was Menander or Milind. These are the images of the coins of Menander. Under the Greeks, a new school of art known as the Gandhara school developed in Gandhar. In this style, the images of Buddha and Bodhisattvas showed distinct Greek features. The school flourished both under the Indo-Greek and the Kushanas. The Pahalwas, Parthians. The Pahalwas were a Central Asian tribe in the 1st century CE. They occupied a large portion of the northwest, including the region around Gandhar. The most powerful Pahalwa ruler was Gondophares. He ruled over southern Afghanistan. During his reign, St. Thomas came to India to propagate Christianity. The Pahalwas were able to hold on to north. west for a very brief period. The Kushanas defeated them and took over their territories. The Sakas, Scythians. The Sakas were inhabitants of Central Asia. They followed the Greeks into India. In the 1st century BCE, they settled down in western India and gradually spread all over this region. The most powerful Saka ruler was Rudradaman, 130 to 152 CE. He used titles such as Maharaja, Great King and Maharaja Dhiraj, King of Kings. He controlled large parts of northwest and western India. These are the coins by Rudradaman first. He was in conflict with the Kushanas in the north and the Satavahanas in the Deccan. The Kushanas. The Parthians were followed by the Kushanas. The Kushanas were the nomadic Yuchi tribe of northwest China. They defeated the Sakas and captured Bactria. Their empire extended from Khorasan in Central Asia to Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. That is a significant part of Central Asia, now in Russia. A part of Iran and Afghanistan, almost the whole of Pakistan and North India were under the one rule of Kushanas. They ruled around 2000 years ago. Peshawar and Mathura were the two major capitals, and the latter was their secondary capital. Takshila was also a part of this kingdom. The Kushanas were amongst the earliest rulers of the subcontinent to issue gold coins. These coins were used by traders along the Silk Route. Kanishk. Kanishk was the most famous Kushana ruler. He ruled about 1900 years ago. He is known in history especially for two reasons. This is the image of a headless statue of Kanishk, Mathura School of Art. Two reasons. First, in 78 BCE, he started a new era called the Saka era. This is now followed by the government of India. Second, Kanishka wholeheartedly patronized Buddhism. That is why historians call him the second Ashoka. These are the coins, gold coins of Kushanas. He also encouraged art and literature. He patronized the Gandhara school of art. Impact of Central Asian contacts. Better use of horses in the warfare. The Shakas and the Kushanas were excellent horsemen. They had introduced the use of reins and saddles. They had also introduced turban, trousers and heavy long coat necessary for horse riding. They also brought in cap, helmet and boots, which were used by the warriors. Thus, they introduced a more effective form of military uniform in India. New political systems. The Kushanas introduced a stable satrapi system of government. The empire was divided into many satrapis and each satrapi was placed under the rule of a satrap. Satraps were military governors, each with their independent army. Trade and commerce. With the coming of the Central Asians, India established a close contact with the Central Asians. As a result, India started getting a good deal of gold from the Altai Mountains in Central Asia. The Kushana also controlled a part of the Silk Route which started from China and passed through Central Asia, Afghanistan and Western Asia. This route was made a source of great income for the Kushanas. They took toll tax from the traders and in return offered them protection from robbers. As a result, Roman gold started coming to India. They got a lot of custom duty from traders. The Silk Route, as we know, was a series of ancient routes from China to the Mediterranean Sea and the Roman Empire. It was not a trade route that traded in silk alone, but many other commodities were traded like precious stones, gold, ivory, exotic animals and plants. But of all these goods, silk was the most remarkable item for the people of Europe. No wonder Kushanas were the first rulers of India to issue gold coins in a large scale. Thus, the Kushanas contributed a great deal to the riches of India. Mahayana Buddhism. A new form of Buddhism emerged with the coming of the Central Asians. In this new form of Buddhism called Mahayana, images of Buddha began to be made and worshipped. In the loop, Kanishk founded a new era in 78 CE known as the Saka era. The official Indian calendar used by the government of India is based on Saka era. The first month of this calendar is Chaitra. Gandhara and Mathura School of Art. The foreign rulers became a great patrons of art and literature. Indian craftsmen came into contact with the artists of Central Asia, Greece and Rome. In northwestern frontier of India, in Gandhara, images of Buddha began to be made in Greek and Roman style. Buddha's images were made with sharp features and curly hair. This is the image of Gandhara art. Another school of art became popular in Mathura. Here the images were made in purely Indian form. This school of art became famous as Mathura School of Art. Thus, the Gandhara and Mathura School of Art showed the intermingling of different cultures because the coming of the Central Asians. Learning and literature. Some of the great writers of the period such as Ashvaghosha enjoyed the patronage of the Kushanas. Ashvaghosha wrote the Buddha Charita, a biography of Buddha. The Indo-Greeks contributed to the development of Indian theatre by introducing the use of the curtain. The Greeks, Shakas, Parthians and Kushanas gradually became absorbed in Indian society. In no other period of ancient history were foreigners absorbed into Indian society on such a large scale. The beginning of Bhakti. Bhakti is the pure devotion shown by the people to his or her chosen god. The period saw the emergence of the concept of Bhakti towards individual gods. As a result, we find the emergence of Shaivism, which means devotion to Shiva, and Vaishnavism, which means devotion to Vishnu. Worship of Shiva was very popular in the Deccan from the early days. In the Tamil country, Shaivism was well rooted. The Tamil Sangam works refer to Shiva as the greatest of all the gods. Mamudu Mudalvan. Vaishnavism was another popular sect followed by a large group of peoples in all parts of India. The cult of Vishnu in the early period was known by the name Bhagavatism, which drew upon the idea of Bhakti as represented in the Bhagavad Gita. Sangam literature mentions different attributes of Vishnu identified with Krishna and his other incarnations such as Rama and Balram. The Bhakti cult gave rise to some of the best expressions of art in terms of poetry, sculpture and architecture. These are the images of Vishnu and Shiva. Value and life skills. There are several major pilgrimages performed by people in India today. Find out about any one of them and write a short description. Hint: who can go on the pilgrimage? Men, women or children? How long does it take? How do people travel? What do they carry with them? What do they do when they reach the holy place? Do they bring anything back with them? Recapitulation. Mauryan military commander Pushyamitra Shunga established the Sunga dynasty in 185 BCE. Sunga dynasty was succeeded by the Kanva dynasty, which ruled till 27 BCE. The Sungas and the Kanvas were Hindu kings. Many foreign tribes from Central Asia such as Indo-Greeks, Pahalwas, Sakas and Kushanas crossed the Hindu Kush and entered India. The Sakas were inhabitants of Central Asia. The Kushanas were the nomadic Yuchi tribe of northwest China. They defeated the Sakas and captured Bactria. The greatest Kushana king was Kanishka, who came to power in 78 CE. He initiated the Saka era. He adopted Buddhism and organized the Fourth Buddhist Council. Thank you class. Let's meet again in the next chapter.